Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites. This is Angela with another edition of Notes on the Newsfeed. And that is where I read headlines from a newsfeed and I share my thoughts on them or what comes up for me from reading the headline. I might have read the headline plus clicked through to the paragraph and skimmed or read that. Or I might have read or skimmed the entire article. We don't know. And I might have an opinion, I might not. But I do have an opinion because I wanted to share the article. But it may not be coherent enough or digested enough for public consumption. So let us get back to this news feed. News just keeps coming and coming and coming, right? And what is news? What is news? All my babies, Black midwife, Miss Mary Cooley, birthed over 1,400 babies. When I read the article at first, or when I read the headline, I'm like, huh? But then I'm like, oh, she assisted at the birth. Now, I don't know what kind of language midwives use, but I'm like, she gave birth to 1,400. But I'm like, okay, yeah. And it said Black midwife, but it was early this morning when I rolled over. What time was it? Probably wasn't that early, but you know what I mean. It was early. June 27, 2017, that's 2 years ago, Bree Newsome, 30-year-old Black woman, unhooks Confederate flag in South Carolina. Was this exactly the same year that the Mother Emanuel 9, is that what they're calling them? The Mother Emanuel 9 were executed, gunned down in at prayer Bible study at Mother Emanuel Church in South Carolina by, is it Dylan Roof? Is that his name? So yeah, 9 people were killed by a man who came into a church in South Carolina. It must have been, I'm imagining that it was 2015, because I think as an aftermath of this, there was a big conversation about the Confederate flag, because on this person's social media, you know, they had certain imagery and were reflecting or expressing certain types of beliefs. And people felt that, that Confederate flag was part of it. And I think actually this dismantling of Civil War monuments is probably part of that same conversation, which I'm sure had been going on before that. But I think before the murderation of the Emanuel 9. But I think that escalated the conversation and people focusing on that issue to another level. And I remember at the time kind of thinking, now the flag is a reflection of a certain value system, but the flag itself is not the value system. So I feel like you can take the flag down or have the flag up. But if people see Black life as life less than other life, less than human, see it as disposable, see us as scapegoats, scapegoats for their anger and disappointment, and if people have mental health issues and fixate on Black people, I don't know. I kind of had mixed feelings about focusing on the flag, because I kind of felt like I think the issue is much deeper than the flag. But every layer, I guess, has value, and I guess that everyone has work to do. So while I might not understand or see the value or the import of something, you might understand or see the value of the import of something, because that's your job, that's your assignment, that's what you're supposed to focus on. But it may not be my job, my assignment, or what I'm supposed to focus on, because I'm like, I don't really see what the issue is exactly. But anyway, I was living in Mississippi at that time, and I remember that my husband started carrying his shotgun with him, because he would be in certain parts of the community that we lived in, and he was feeling increasingly unsafe and increasingly threatened, and people were aggressively flying flags. So, especially when you got away from the city part, from what I heard from him, there were people who would have 2 or 3 flags on their pickup trucks. And, I guess that there's already a culture there, which I don't tune into, I guess, because I'm not a gun-oriented person. But I remember when I went to Europe, I'm like, oh my God, these people are walking around with these big guns, like the police or whatever. I noticed that. But I never really noticed the exposed guns in Mississippi, or the gun racks, or, we were walking down the street a few months ago, and I guess somebody had a gun, and I missed the whole, I don't know. But anyway, he said he was noticing more guns and more flags. So he had his gun. So it started to feel like increasingly to feel like a even more hostile environment. And I guess it had been a hostile environment in subtle ways, increasingly. But it became, I guess, more and more overtly hostile. And then also in some places, I guess you just feel like it's just you, like, whereas in other places you feel like you might have some backup if something went down. June 27th, 1872. Happy birthday, Paul Laurence Dunbar, a great poet of the 19th century. Happy birthday, ancestor Paul Laurence Dunbar. Go read some Paul Laurence Dunbar poetry today. Former FN supporter on trial for smuggling Iranian lover to UK. I think when I read it, it was like a far-right French. FN was like a far-right French type group, but I don't remember. Philippines to make enthusiastic singing of the national anthem mandatory. So you can't just be like, oh, say, can you? You gotta be, oh, say, can you see? And they might be like, hey, that's not enthusiastic enough. See? Is that enthusiastic enough? What y'all doing, Philippines? Is that what's gonna come here? You can't kneel for the national anthem. You got to stand up. You can't stand up for the national anthem. You got to stand up energetically. You can't stand up energetically. You got to sing. You can't just sing. You got to sing enthusiastically. California is adding a chemical found in Monsanto's Roundup weed killer to its list of cancer-causing agents. Y'all know about Monsanto? Fox Sky acquisition receives blessings of Ireland's communications minister. I thought it was the National Enquirer I was reading about acquiring. But I think this is our Fox, or the Fox in this country is acquiring, or in the process of acquiring something in Ireland. So when we talk about the consolidation of the press and the consolidation of information and the consolidation of who's providing our information, it's not just in this country. It is a worldwide consolidation. Remember when they were talking about, what was it? New World Order. Y'all remember when that was like all the rage? Some of y'all might be too young to know about New World Order. I never hear anybody talk about that anymore, but that used to be, oh, New World Order, New World Order, New World Order, New World. Everybody used to be talking about New World Order. Ghanaian new media company raises $1.1 million in quest to become BuzzFeed of Africa. I think I've probably watched some stuff about BuzzFeed. Is it supposed to be like light, fluffy news, quick stories? I don't really know what the what the reference means, because I'm not really clear. I've heard of BuzzFeed, but I don't know what their brand is. So, but they want to be that brand, but in Africa. The Colorado River is shrinking. I think it has to do with heat, but I'm not really sure. And that's what I got. Fabulites, we're back where we left off the last time. So, you know what I'm going to say to you? Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. Are we at 100 yet? And for being here, for listening, for being you. being fabulous and being fabulous you. Have a fabulous day, Fabulites. Peace.